So let's record. Take a look at the answers that we've got here. Compare what I got with what you got. If you think I made a mistake, let me know. I already made one mistake that someone else fixed. It was great. And then we're going to look at some bed mass today, and you guys are going to play with that. So, okay. If you were away yesterday and didn't email me, shame. I can send you the videos for the lessons, and those are actually going to end up on YouTube shortly. I just need to, finish making that account because the district killed our teacher YouTube. So that was fun. Okay. This page, I wanted you guys to tell me just the first three questions were: is this final value going to be positive or negative? You didn't actually have to do the math. You just have to look at the number of negative signs being multiplied together. An odd number of negatives is negative, and an even number of negatives is positive. And then I actually wanted you to do these bottom ones. Comments, questions, concerns on any of them. Going once, twice, thrice. Nobody's saying anything, so sold. And then I gave you this sheet. Whether it's mental or whether it's in your using your times tables, the multiplication table I gave you. I wanted you to do this page. There's numbers 1, 2, what is that, 24? Yeah, 24. Compare what you got with what I got. There was one mistake I made that the other class caught. Let me slide this thing up slowly, just so I can get to the bottom of the questions. Because I'm dividing them.
Oh.
If you multiply them, it's going to be like 6,500. But the division, is that what you got? Did you multiply them instead? Oh, okay.
No.
Are you good with how the division works out to be 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and that's down to the bottom. Okay, comments, questions, concerns. Ooh, you, sir, are Bilal. Yes? No, dude, just come in, sit down. Don't touch other people on the way in. Just come in, get your stuff out. Okay, that should be to the bottom. Yep, there it is. Questions, comments, concerns on any of those? Do you feel like I made a mistake? Otherwise, here we go. Okay, bed mass, order of operations, review, more review. But we're getting closer to the end of review. Here we go. So, nope, that's the wrong one. Let's go up, nope, down. Okay, in math, operations is a mathematical process. This word operations is just a word we use to talk about a bunch of different types of mathematical processes or operations. Processes, or is that, process, singular. That word operation is just a mathematical process. There are a whole bunch of them that we will look at over the course of grade 9. Some we won't until you hit grade 10, grade 11. There's all sorts of these different kinds of processes that get, the whole point of learning these, taking these classes to learn these different processes. So, the ones that you guys are familiar with already are things like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, roots or exponents. These two are the same, believe it or not. These two are the same. Multiplying and dividing are just basically the same thing, for reasons I'll show you. Adding, subtracting are the same. Subtracting is just addition of a negative. Addition of a negative is just subtraction. Dividing something is just multiplying it by a fraction. They are, yeah, they're all the same. Well, these pairs of them are the same anyway. So order of operations. Order of operations tells us what to do first. At some point in your educational career, BEDMAS would have been introduced to you as a convenient way to remember what operations to do first. And BEDMAS looks like this. Brackets, exponents, division or multiplication, addition or subtraction. These two get looped together. The reason they're in the same box is because they can happen in any order, as long as you're moving left to right. So if all you have is a long string of multiplication and division, you start at the left and it doesn't matter what comes first, you just kind of march through it. Same thing with addition or subtraction. Technically speaking, we could talk about these in either order. It doesn't have to go BEDMAS. It could go BEMDAS or BEMDASA or BEDMASA. BEDMAS just sounds better. These two can change their order as long as whatever you're doing is left to right. We do math the same way we read English, left to right across a page or across a question. So as far as the notation goes, brackets, there's two different kinds of brackets. There's the square ones. There's the curved ones. And technically speaking, they don't actually have the same name. The square ones are called brackets. Does anyone know what we actually are supposed to call the curved ones? Louder, House and Joe? These curved ones are called parentheses. Parentheses. E-S. Yeah, parentheses. That's that guy. The curved ones are called brackets. The square ones are called brackets. The curved ones are called parentheses. We use it interchangeably because those are just containers we use to hold numbers. Exponents. That's the bulk of next chapter, but things like 2 squared, that guy right there is the exponent, that raised number there. After you deal with whatever math is going on inside the brackets, now we jump to exponents. Roots also line up there.
Please excuse the interruption. At this time, 2 grade 11 students and their teachers head down to the Abbey Art Center for their assembly.
Grade 12, never mind.
11 students and their teachers head to the Abbey Arts for the assembly. Thank you.
So whether you're exponents or roots, those get dealt with in here. So squaring something or square rooting something, for example. Multiplication and division, those are straightforward. You see these symbols. Sometimes multiplication is just a dot. Sometimes division is a fraction, but this symbol is a fraction. That dot represents your numerator, that dot represents your denominator. The division symbol is just a fraction. And then you've got and again, you're going left to right. You got your addition, your subtraction. You're going left to right. So today is all just a review of this stuff. And if we race through it, we'll take a look at simplifying fractions, which should also be reviewed. So I've got 4 questions here. We're going to practice these, or we'll do these together as a class, and then I'm going to free you to practice this on your own. I'm going to show you now the way I want you to lay these down. Lots of this can happen in your head. That's great. I want you to show me your work. As you're doing these questions, it's going to feel redundant, especially on some of these really easy ones. It's really easy to look at that and tell me that the answer is what? 8. You bet. The answer here is 8. But as we get to some of the more difficult ones, can you tell me what this answer is? Just like now, go? No. So as they get slightly more complicated, what I want you to do is use the simple ones to practice the techniques I want to see, so that when you get to the more difficult ones, you're able to do them without a lot of grief. So here's what I want to see. As you guys are doing a question, I want you to make 1 or 2 changes at a time and write what you've done, the changes you've made, on the line beneath. So here's what I'm talking about. We've got a string of multiplication and division. I've got 4 times 4 divided by 2. Yeah, some of you can do this in your head nice and easy. Some tell me the answer is 8. But here's how I show my work. Because it's just division and multiplication, we do it left to right, whatever comes first. So 4 times 4 is what's happening first here as we move left to right. 4 times 4 is 16. So my first line I'm going to write down, I'm doing the 4 times 4, it is 16. I've made my change. 4 times 4 is 16. Whatever I didn't do yet, I'm just writing down as what's coming next. And we're going to include the equal sign here. And now we're actually going to go ahead and do it. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Show me the work, make 1 or 2 changes at a time, so that when the questions get nastier, you've got a technique to fall back on. Okay, next one. BEDMAS says, what happens first here? The division. So this is the piece I'm going to look at first. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we're going to do that. We're going to make that change. And then whatever we didn't change is just going to get written down out front as something we haven't changed yet. And now whatever your last operation is, we can do this nice and easy. 4 plus 2 is 6. The next one's given to us a little different. It's the same question. It looks like the same question. 4 plus 4 divided by 2, but this one's got brackets around the 4 plus 4. Yeah, man. You bet. So, what am I going to get? Okay, so the addition is going to give me? You bet. So, I make that change. I divide or add my 4 plus 4. I get my 8. I write down my division by 2 as the thing that's coming next. And now you finish it up. 8 divided by 2 is? Done. What are you doing? Okay. Shaking the pencil for the lead inside of it. Okay. Okay, last one. Of course it looks a little bit more interesting. We've got a bunch of addition and subtraction. We've got division written as a fraction. I've got some addition of this. So what's going on here? Someone give me a suggestion as to how we can approach something like this. Sorry? Heard some whispering. When you've got a string of things, gentlemen, written in the numerator of a fraction, often you won't see it with brackets around it, but you need to get comfortable inserting them. Put them in there. When you've got operators in the numerator of a fraction, treat them as if they're being surrounded by brackets. Put them in there. And that'll give you a place to start. Because BEDMAS says we do brackets first, so what's going to happen here? I'm going to take a look at the math inside my brackets, and I'm going to work, because it's all addition and subtraction, I just work left to right. 10 plus 3 is 13, minus 1 is 12, and so that's the first change I've made. 12 divided by 6. And now, when I say we can make 1 or 2 changes at a time, yeah, I could write plus 2 times 2, but I could also recognize that this is a change I can make at the same time. Because multiplication comes before addition, I can deal with this right away too. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. And that addition there in the middle gets brought down. My next step here is going to be to do what? Yeah, divide the 12 and the 6, giving me 2. So 2 plus 4 equals, and we're done. Okay? So I don't think any of those are particularly difficult questions, but it's an easy way to practice this technique so that when the questions get nastier, you've got a technique to fall back on. That's it. As far as the lesson goes, I've got nothing more for you. So what I want you to do is, I'm going to take the rest of class. There's an hour here now. And I've got 40 questions, all BEDMAS. I want you to do them all. I want you to do them in a particular order. I want you to do, for the sake of speed, I know all of you are operating kind of at different speeds with how comfortable you are with this stuff. I want you to do the odds first, and then go back and do the evens. It'll give you a chance to get from the beginning to the end, do some of those last questions, and then come back and loop around again. I mean, unless you're like, you know what, I can crank out all 40 of these, then by all means go in order. I want you to do them all. But for those of you who feel like perhaps your speed on this is a little slower, that's fine. Do the odds first, then come back and do the evens. Okay? That's your task. I've got an answer key for this. When you're ready to see it, let me know. Otherwise, may the force be with you. Get going.